Korean is getting more and more popular as K-pop is sweeping the whole world. How about getting some ideas on this Asian language? Don't forget to subscribe to Lang Explorer to show your support. In recent years, Korean has been an increasingly popular foreign language, as K-pop is overwhelmingly attracting people's attention. Those who love movies and music from South Korea are eager to figure out what's being said in such contents, and more people are starting to learn this Asian language. We need to note, however, that Korean uses its own alphabet called Hangul, which isn't practically used in any other language. It has its own phonology, grammar, and vocabulary too, so mastering it is very hard, especially for native speakers of English and other European languages. Now that Korean soap operas and K-pop are more than a temporary fad and have become established worldwide, interest in their tongue is growing in unprecedented ways, and more people are beginning to study the language. However, even nowadays, only little is known about this language. In this video, we'd like to explain Korean in detail. The Korean language's most distinctive feature is its alphabet called Hangul. Classical Chinese was traditionally used in the Korean peninsula, but this was a significant handicap for ordinary people because it required reading and writing in a foreign language. This hardship was recognized as a problem by King Sejong, the fourth king of the Joseon dynasty, who created these letters in 1446. While Classical Chinese kept its status as the official language for a long time, modernization led to the use of a mixture of Chinese characters and Hangul. After independence, which took place just after World War II, both South and North Korea practically abolished Chinese characters, and nowadays, texts are written almost exclusively in Hangul, which made it easier to read and write while putting a hurdle to those who are used to Chinese characters, such as natives of Chinese and Japanese, unless they've studied Korean enough to understand how each Chinese character is transcribed in Hangul. The key to learning Korean is to get accustomed to reading and writing in these characters. Hangul is characterized by elements, such as vowels and consonants, to create a single letter. In Korean, each syllable is composed of a consonant, a vowel, and a consonant, and while semivowels can be included and consonants can be dropped, what's essential is that closed syllables are frequent, and in no case can you find more than one consonant before or after the vowel. In English, you can find words with clusters, such as sprints, which have three consonants, S, P, and R, before the vowel and N, T, and S after it, but such words don't exist in Korean. Sometimes final consonants are written as a cluster. The final consonant can change occasionally depending on the following one. Sometimes final consonants are written as a cluster, but only one of these consonants is pronounced, while another is also pronounced only when followed by a vowel, a bit similar to the mechanism of liaison in French. So, for instance, chicken is 닭, and L in the cluster is silent, while S for chicken is concerned as 닭은, pronouncing not only G but also L. As for the pronunciation per se, Korean doesn't distinguish between voiced and unvoiced consonants, so P and B, K and G, T and D and CH and J aren't distinguished and they're usually unvoiced, except when they're sandwiched with vowels or so. For instance, report is 보고 with the first P unvoiced, while important report is 중대보고 where P turns into B. On the contrary, we need to pay attention to the fact that Korean has tense and aspired consonants too. English has also aspired consonants that appear before the accented vowel, such as P, K, and T in peak, cup, and tank, respectively, while tense consonants are rare in other languages. Therefore, we need to pay attention to the difference between plain, tense, and aspired consonants. Both tense and aspired consonants are unvoiced, so they sound like P, K, and so on, while they never sound like B, G, and so on. So, let's compare such pronunciations, presented in the order of plain, tense, and aspired consonants.
가, 가, 가. 파, 빠, 파. 타, 따, 타. 자, 자, 차. 사, 싸.
S is devoid of aspired, but it's necessary to distinguish between these three sorts of consonants. And Korean has 5 more consonants that are shown on the screen. The first 2 are usually pronounced as shown in the screen, while the third one is silent if it appears at the end of a syllable, and the fourth one is pronounced R if it occurs at the beginning while L appears at the end of the syllable. The final character is silent if it appears at the beginning, while it's pronounced as NG if it appears at the end of a syllable. And this letter never appears at the beginning of a word, and Chinese words beginning with L turn into N, or silent if begin with LI and LY. So labor,
劳动
in Chinese, is
노동
in Korean, while the surname
리
in Chinese is
이
in Korean. When we compare Korean consonants with English ones, we can tell you that F, TH, and Z are non-existent in this language, while B, G, D, and J never appear at the beginning of a word. For your information, SH is expressed with S, followed by the semivowel Y. As for vowels, Korean used to have central vowels, similar to O and U in German, but such pronunciations have already disappeared in the standard Korean in Seoul, which has the following 7 vowels. Most vowels have similar ones in English, while
으
is U with mouth shape similar to I. Also, W and Y are semivowels, while
의
is a diphthong. Let's hear how each vowel is pronounced.
아 어 오 우 으 이 에 에 예야 여 요 유 이 와 왜 오 왜 위 의
Korean vocabulary consists of native, Chinese, and foreign words. Native words are autochthonous ones, building the core part of the language, such as
쌀
and,
먹다
although some basic words are of Chinese origins, such as
산 강
and.
형
Such words used to be written in Chinese characters, so native speakers of Chinese and Japanese find it easy to master them. And nowadays Korean has more and more vocabulary of foreign origin, especially from English. Korean grammar shares some important features with Japanese, Turkish, and other Altaic languages. For example, a verb or an adjective comes at the end of the sentence, cases are expressed with particles, and subjects can be omitted if they're obvious. For example, today I went to a hospital to get a medical checkup in Korean.
오늘 나는 병원에 가서 건강검진을 받았다.
Words of the same color mean their correspondence, and underlined Korean letters are particles with grammatical functions. Verbs and adjectives finish with
다
and this suffix is changed to different particles to show grammatical functions, and the root can change occasionally in case of irregular verbs.
하다
Is usually added after a noun to turn it into a verb or adjective, respectively. As for honorifics, in most cases,
시
is added to verbs and adjectives to show your respect, while some verbs, adjectives, and nouns use entirely different words. For instance, the ordinary form of eat is,
먹다
while its honorifics is,
드시다
and the ordinary form of birthday is,
생일
while its honorifics is.
생신
Korean has 4 levels of politeness,
한다 해요 합니다
whereby the latest one is the most polite. In case of adjectives, the simplest and therefore the least polite form is
하다
instead of.
한다
Another important feature of Korean is that it has 2 sorts of numbers, those of Chinese origin and those of native one. The following noun determines which sort of numbers is to be used. For instance, the native numbers are only used for up to 99, while 100 and more are expressed exclusively in those of Chinese origin, and native ones are used to refer to age and hours, such as 15 years old and 5:30, while year, month, date, minute, and second are expressed in Chinese words. Now, let's summarize what we've learned today. 1. Each Hangul letter has elements. Korean syllables are basically composed of consonant plus semivowel plus vowel plus consonant, and only one of 2 consonants in the cluster is pronounced at the end of a syllable unless followed by a vowel. 2. Korean consonants are basically unvoiced and are voiced only when sandwiched by vowels or similar ones. They consist of plain, tense, and aspired ones. Tense consonants are very rare in other languages, while F, TH, and Z don't exist in Korean. 3. Modern Korean has 7 vowels. 6 of them have similar ones in English while is unique. 4. Korean vocabulary consists of native, Chinese, and foreign ones. Chinese vocabulary is easier to master for native speakers of Chinese and Japanese. 5. Korean sentences always end with a verb or an adjective, and there are plenty of irregular conjugations.
하다,
Can turn nouns into verbs and adjectives. 6. Honorifics can be made mainly by putting
시,
after the root of verbs and adjectives, while some verbs, adjectives, and nouns change into different words. Korean has 4 levels of politeness. 7. Korean has 2 sorts of numbers, native ones and Chinese ones. Native ones exist up to 99 and are used for age, hour, etc. Thank you for watching this video. We're looking forward to seeing you in the next one.